Well, another milestone in the history of a democratic South Africa is about to be reached. Cyril Ramaphosa will be inaugurated today in front of heads of state and large crowds of ordinary citizens at the Union Buildings in Pretoria. Let's cross now to our reporter Chriselda, who's at Rittendale Park, and she's at the Park and Ride venue, of course. And I know it's a very, very early start for media, guests, everybody that's going to be there, with Park and Rides moving in and the buses ferrying people to and fro. Talk to us. Who are you seeing there, Chriselda? Good morning to you.
Well, a very good morning to you from a very chilly Rittendale Sports Ground, Leanne. And this is, of course, where you correctly pointed out, a Park and Ride has been made available for those wanting to attend the inauguration of the President of the 7th Administration at the Union Buildings, which is later on this morning. Chief Justice Raymond Zondo, of course, will swear in President-elect Cyril Ramaphosa, who will take the oath or affirmation. Of course, you would recall, if we go back, it was at the ANC's 54th National Conference in December of 2017 that Mr. Ramaphosa was elected as ANC President. So this morning, a lot is going to be said about his rise once again to the Union Buildings. But a lot has changed since then, that elective conference there, Leanne. His party, of course, at the helm of the country, governing since 1994. This time, this inauguration is taking place with his party having lost its majority. It's taking place following, of course, also a landmark coalition deal, or NGU, a national government of unity between the ANC and opposition parties. So President-elect Cyril Ramaphosa will be sworn in by the Chief Justice Raymond Zondo, as I indicated. So he's expected to take that oath or affirmation of office, included, you'd recall, in Schedule 2 of the country's constitution. So that ceremony will be held at the Union Buildings Amphitheatre, as well as the Southern Lawns at the Union Buildings. So the amphitheatre, Leanne, will welcome national and foreign dignitaries, including heads of state and government. So preparations have also been made for South Africans to attend the inauguration ceremony on the lawns of the Union Buildings. That's the Southern Lawns. And you'd know, of course, that this inauguration is coinciding with the celebrating 30 years of democracy. And the theme for this inauguration is 30 years of democracy, partnership and growth. So the South African National Defence Force, Leanne, will carry out, of course, the ceremonial parts of the inauguration, pledging their allegiance to both the Republic of South Africa and the Commander-in-Chief, President-elect Cyril Ramaphosa. But right here behind me, it really has been a very early start. Members of the media, this is where we will get on those Park and Ride facilities, and we will move from here to the Southern Lawns, as well as to the amphitheatre at the Union Buildings. Not much of the general public has arrived. It's still quite early, Leanne. We're expecting a little bit later on around the periphery of the Union Buildings to speak to some of the South Africans who've been looking forward to today's proceedings and get their sense generally, of the climate under which this presidential inauguration is taking place. But it's just dignitaries right here behind me who don't really want to speak to us at this particular point. I think they'll say a whole lot much after the presidential inauguration takes place a little bit later on this morning. But a very exciting day indeed for South Africa, as President-elect Cyril Ramaphosa will be sworn in by the Chief Justice Raymond Zondo. These buses have been moving from about, I would say, 4 o'clock this morning, and they're the ones that will be ferrying. A lot of security around the area around the Union Buildings as well, Leanne, as would be expected. So no cars are being allowed in that area. Perhaps let me try and do the job of Rob Byrne at this particular time. The public should also be aware, in areas around the Union Buildings, it's going to take you a little bit longer to get to your workplace because there are various areas that have been closed off there to accommodate the flow of traffic into the Union Buildings for the start, of course, of the inauguration of President-elect Cyril Ramaphosa. But certainly it's going to be a very exciting day. We saw yesterday SABC News International editor Sophie Mokoena covering much of the dignitaries who have been arriving, including heads of state in the majority from the SADC countries, who've come to show support to South Africa in this major shift in the political landscape. But of course, Leanne, a lot of the pomp and ceremony will be taking place today. But a few hours after that, I think everyone will be looking to what shape or form his government will take. Back to you in studio for now.
Right, Chriselda Lewis there at the Rittendale Park and Drive. That's where, of course, everybody gets ferried into the buildings, the union buildings, where that inauguration is going to be taking place.